What's up, guys? Thomas Mott here. Welcome into the Thomas Mott Show on a Victory Monday for your Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, the Eagles are one of three football teams that are 3-0 with the Dolphins and Giants. Well, I guess the Giants are 2-0. We'll see if they actually win tonight on Monday Night Football. But I want to jump into everything going on day after the absolute drubbing of Carson Wentz, as well as some NFL updates as well, as we always do. National story, end of the show. The Niners are interesting as a threat to Philadelphia. Are they actually one or not? What happened with Jimmy G last night on Sunday Night Football? We'll talk about that. And I also want to get into, there's a new Pro Bowl. They've completely readjusted the Pro Bowl as of like 2 seconds ago. So we're going to dive into that, again, end of the show, but mainly, of course, Eagles focused here to start the Thomas Mott Show. There is some Jalen Hurts numbers that are going to blow your mind. And we're going to get into this to start. But first, before we go ahead and show you guys that, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. I want to thank every 2,200 of you who have subbed over the past couple of days. You guys have been hitting the thumbs up button. I mean, the interaction and the community here on my show has been fantastic, and I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thumbs up to you. I cannot thank you enough, and hopefully you guys keep enjoying the show, keep giving it a thumbs up, keep subscribing, and welcome to the Thomas Mott Show. We like to talk about the National Football League and your Philadelphia Eagles, hence why all the Eagles gear is right here. Okay, so first story of the day. This isn't in the title. I wanted just to get into this. I saw a tweet that really blew my mind. I think it's going to blow your mind as well. We know how good Jalen Hurts has been. If you watch the Eagles the past couple of weeks, he's been fantastic. And there's been zero issues with Hurts that we all thought might be there. Accuracy, deep ball accuracy, rolling out of the pocket and throwing on the run. No issues with Hurts so far. But the numbers take that to the next level. Look how good Jalen Hurts has been the first 3 weeks. This is MVP level stuff. This is like one of the best quarterbacks in the league level stuff. Jeff Kerr from CBS has this full tweet here. Let's just go through these numbers. Through 3 weeks, Jalen Hurts, out of all NFL quarterbacks, is number one for 10 plus yard plays with 45. He's tied for first with 20 plus yard plays. That's 13. He's first in yards per attempt, 9.35. He's first in yards per catch, that's 13.88. He's second in passing yards in the entire NFL at 9.16. He's his first downs per attempt is second at 41.8. His yards per completion, 6.56, that's second. His quarterback rating is a 106.5, which is insane. That's fifth. His touchdown to interception ratio is a 4.0. He's had one interception so far. That is tied for fifth. If these are not numbers that make you sit back and go, oh my gosh, he's even better than we actually thought, I don't know what will. And here's the deal. We all had hope in Eagle Land, whether you're a beat writer or a fan or a national media pundit or a radio host in Philadelphia. We all had high hopes for Jalen Hurts this year. We all expected Jalen Hurts to be a lot better. Did you expect this? Because I didn't. I didn't expect this. I still had 80% of me saying he's going to be great, 20% of me being like, maybe he will, maybe he won't. I'm even blown away by this. And I was one of the biggest Jalen Hurts supporters on my Twitter account, @RealThomasMott, all offseason long. It is insane how good he is. And I'll take it a step further. Let's go over here to the NFL.com stats page where you can see just how good people are in terms of where they are rating as quarterbacks. Passing yards. It's Josh, it's Tua, it's Hurts. And Hurts is literally like one completion away from number two, and he's like, a couple of completions away from being number one behind Josh Allen. You go over here to yards per attempt. It's Brandon Mann, who, punter, move on from that. It's Jordan Love. It's Jalen Hurts. You go over here to completion percentage. It's, again, ignore the wide receivers there because they have like one completion, and it's 100% completion percentage. Get to the actual ones. Completion percentage, he's right behind Patrick Mahomes, Trevor Lawrence, and guess who? Josh Allen. I mean, you go through all of these things. Touchdowns, he's a little bit further down, but the rushing is still absolutely incredible. You go over here to rate, and he's right by Josh Allen and right by Patrick Mahomes. He is playing at an unbelievable level, and I think we need to start actually realizing and understanding and appreciating what he did this offseason. Jalen Hurts went from a quarterback who was a run-first guy, who was a one-read guy in terms of throwing to one wide receiver on a route, who was a guy who did not see the entire field. He was a 55, 54, 50... was it 7% completion percentage guy last year, who still won 8-9 games, took his team to the playoffs, but was never considered a elite quarterback, never considered, on the Josh Allen level or on the Patrick Mahomes level. I'm not saying he's there yet, but what I'm saying to you right now is if you're an Eagle fan or just an NFL fan in general watching this show, you must start to recognize what the Eagles have in Jalen Hurts. If this is the Hurts they get the rest of the year, they're going places. And this is a really, really good Jalen Hurts. And the numbers from that Jeff Kerr tweet blew my mind this morning, and I wanted to open up and share with you guys on that one. Believe the hype. I know that you're still probably a little bit like, okay, is he going to be this good for like the entire season? I get that. But what we've seen so far against 3 teams that have some decent players on defense, all 3 of them, Lions, Vikings, and yes, even the Commanders have some talent, he's been carving them up. It's been incredible, and it has been an absolute sight to see. Okay, other thing I want to talk about really quickly. This is not a big story, but it's a fun story, okay? And I think there are still fun stories that happen during the NFL season that need to be mentioned here on the Thomas Mott Show. Let's talk about the draft for a second. You say, Thomas, what is it? The 26th of November, or what is it, September? Why are you talking about the NFL draft right now? We don't care about the NFL draft. We don't care where our draft pick is. Well, you might just a little bit after seeing this. Do you remember how the Eagles made a trade with the Saints this past year and basically got their first-round draft pick in 2023? That draft pick matters because the Saints don't look too good, and they're 1-2 right now. They had a terrible loss against the Carolina Panthers yesterday on Sunday. Do you realize that Philadelphia has a chance at a top 10 pick this year? Because their pick is not going to be top 10. I mean, based on where they're playing right now, it might be 32nd for all we know. But if you go to the NFL mock draft database.com, it shows you where teams are ranked right now based on their record in the potential 2023 NFL draft. And even though we're only 3 weeks in, look at this. Raiders 1, Texans 2, Seahawks, Falcons, Chargers, Cardinals. That's going to change. Look who's sitting at 7. Philadelphia. Why? Because they have the Saints pick. If the Saints keep losing, the Eagles are going to have not only 2 first-round draft picks, which they already do no matter what, one of them could be a top 10 draft pick. So you're looking at a Philadelphia Eagles team that is young, that is going to have cap space next year, that might have found their franchise quarterback, that is, elite at a lot of positions, that might be able to add another impact starter next year in the offseason. Things are looking very, very up. And I don't want to get too crazy. Again, we're not going to talk about the offseason on the Thomas Mott Show until we actually get to the offseason. We're focusing in on Eagles stuff and then obviously moving out to the National Football League as well. But I saw that this morning, and again, I went, you know what? I think the followers of this show will appreciate the fact that Philadelphia might be having a top 10 pick in 2023, and they might have another pick that's in the late 30s, if you know what I mean, in 2023 as well. Absolutely crazy. Okay, before we get into the 49ers and the national story of the day here, quickly, I want to update some of the injury notes on the Philadelphia Eagles. We go to Bleeding Green Nation for that one right here, talking about several Eagles are a little bit banged up. It's good news, though, and the focus here is Darius Slay. Jeff McClain with a tweet. Darius Slay said it was cramps that kept him out for a short stretch in the first quarter. It ain't no thing was the quote there. So I talked about potentially some injuries for Darius Slay in yesterday's video. A little worried about him missing some snaps. Zach McPherson came in to fill in for him at a time. This is good news. This is really good news that it's not any sort of nagging hamstring injury or a tweaked ankle. The fact that it is just cramps, big news for big play Slay. That is fantastic, as he's one of the best corners, and is going to be a Pro Bowl cornerback this year based on how things are going. Quick update on Hassan Reddick. He went down, had to be evaluated by trainers. He finished the day. He had 1.5 sacks. He should be just fine. There wasn't any sort of indication on what the injury was, but the indication is that he's fine, and so it's not going to be any sort of serious long-term injury for the Eagles pass rusher, who did finally get going on Sunday against the Commanders. It took him a couple of games, but he looked really good to go. All right, let's move over here to our national story. I want to mention last night's game just a little bit, mainly because it does tie into Philadelphia. I try and do that here on the Thomas Mott Show. The 49ers are 1-2. I really thought the Niners were going to look a lot better with Jimmy G last night than they did, because I really think Jimmy Garoppolo is the right quarterback if they want to win right now. Lance is the future, but Garoppolo is the focus. And I said, okay, look around the NFC. There's a couple of teams that would scare you if you're an Eagle fan, whether it's, the Bucs or maybe the Packers. Both of them have issues, though, receivers and injuries and offensive line problems. So the Niners defense is like something that scares you. And you have, Brandon Ayuk, and you have Jeff Wilson Jr. when he's healthy, and you have Elijah Mitchell, and Debo. They have serious weapons, and Kittle. But if they don't have the quarterback, and last night Garoppolo was not that guy, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, a 14.2 QBR, you can eliminate them from actually being a threat to Philadelphia. So it was kind of fun to see them struggle yesterday, because I really thought they were going to beat up on the Broncos. Denver is all sorts of a mess right now. It feels like Nathaniel Hackett is not the right pick there. I know Russell Wilson gets a lot of blame, but Hackett's offensive system is not working right now. This is good news for Philadelphia, that even with Jimmy Garoppolo, the Niners offense, for whatever reason, it's struggling. The only thing you have to worry about is the Niner defense, and I think Philadelphia's offense would be able to go ahead and handle that. So, again, the NFC, man, like the NFC as a whole, it's just amazing how not impressive it is right now. I mean, you can go to the overall rankings in terms of looking at the other conferences. The Rams have a lot of issues on the offensive line. Right now, Matt Stafford is not playing very good football. You already beat the Vikings. The Packers have wide receiver problems and offensive line issues as well. The Bucs have serious offensive line issues, and I like their defense, but they just feel a little old offensively. Fournette's a little old. Mike Evans is getting a little up there. Chris Godwin comes off an injury. Julio Jones only plays one game a year because he's ancient. The NFC, man, we talked about it here on the Thomas Mott Show. It's just not that scary yet. And I know. Okay, I know. Listen, it's only week 3. I get that. But still, we can only talk about what we've seen so far, and what we've seen so far is a 3-0 Eagle team that's the best team in the NFC. Okay, final quick note here. This to me is dumb, but it's worth mentioning from a national side. The Pro Bowl is turning into the Pro Bowl games the week before the NFL, or week before the Super Bowl, and so it's essentially going to get rid of the actual game. And so here's what they say via Nick Shook on the NFL.com. Gone is the traditional game played at the end of Pro Bowl week. A flag football game featuring the season's Pro Bowlers will take place at Allegiant Stadium on Sunday, February 5th. The week will be about more than Sunday's game, with the addition of new challenges intended to showcase Pro Bowlers football and non-football skills in unique competitions. So basically what they've done is gotten rid of the Pro Bowl. They should have done that many, many years ago. Nobody cares about it. I haven't watched it in forever because it's just kind of disrespectful. Not disrespectful. It's just not worth my time as an NFL fan to watch, Pro Bowlers not tackle. And I get it. Like, why would you break your ankle or tear your ACL in a completely meaningless football game where the winning team gets like $44,000 per player, which is like a game check for some of these guys? It's good to see that they did this. This has been a disaster for many years, and it finally is the right move for teams in general to not have to worry about getting injured and going to the Pro Bowl. I think Philadelphia's gonna have a lot of Pro Bowlers. How many Pro Bowlers are on the team right now based on 3 weeks? A.J. Brown, definitely gonna be a Pro Bowler. There's a chance for Devontae Smith if he does what he did yesterday for the rest of the year. You got to think that there are a couple offensive linemen, maybe Kelsey and Mailata. You got to think Jalen Hurts has a chance to be a Pro Bowler as of right now, especially in the NFC where a lot of the quarterbacks are struggling. Defensively, you figure someone on the defensive line. Cox is having a good year. I thought Fletcher Cox was a little washed. He's having a good year. He could definitely be one. They won't get a linebacker to the Pro Bowler. There are too many good ones in the NFC. I think you get Slay. Bradbury's playing at a Pro Bowl level right now, and then probably not a safety. So right now, my quick mental math says at least 6. I think 6 Eagles for the Pro Bowl. If you're a good NFC team, year in, year out, if you're one of the deep run playoff teams, you get up to 10 is kind of like the big giant number, maybe 8. I think we're looking at 5 to 6 as of today, but I mean, come on, it's week 3. It's hard to, let me just be honest, it's hard to not get super excited right now. Have you noticed that? It's really, really hard to actually go, well, maybe this will happen. Maybe they actually aren't that good. You see comments like, oh, well, they just beat the Lions in Washington and they went, and beat the Vikings. Like, you see all this stuff to try and minimize what the Eagles have done, and I get that because it's so early. You don't want to overhype yourself. But it's hard right now watching that football team and watching the national media just ooh and ah over Philadelphia. Man, it's fun right now. It's fun to be an Eagles fan. It's fun to have a show talking about the National Football League, and I appreciate you guys hanging out here on a Monday. A lot of content. I mean, there's a lot of content coming up this week, so be sure to hit that subscribe button. You just want to tweet me, you can. At Real Thomas Mott is my official Twitter account. That's a good place to follow me, so you might as well do that as well. I appreciate you. Go Birds. Wear some green today. Enjoy the rest of your Monday.